what's your title? Senior Vice President of Business Development of EWM and
Berkshire Hathaway Home Services EWM.
How do you say that? It's you went how many years you was just EWM?
We were just that's a good question, Grant. Let's see. So we were EWM from 1964 until 2019.
And how many years were you working with EWM?
So I've been at EWM now since May of '98. So what is that? It'll be 23 years.
Right. Now you got to add a new name. Okay.
Absolutely.
So you're really involved with Illuminae Coral Gables, correct?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks,
can we put that on the screen?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And Patrick's going to narrate all the way through this.
A little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Restart it and switch it over.
How long have you been involved with it?
So I'm one of the co-founders of Illuminae Coral Gables. Myself and Vinny Torrey of the Torrey Companies is my other co-founder. He and I, it's interesting because he was president of the Business Improvement District Board at the same time that I was chairman of the Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce Board.
So this comes out February 12th?
Yes, coming up February 12th. It's going to run for an entire month. So this is going to launch over President's Day weekend, where there's typically a lot happening around Miami. There's not quite as much happening this year due to COVID. So we're very excited to present this during that month-long exhibition. But let me back up a little bit. So as far as kind of how this all came about, Vinny Torrey with the bid, I was with the chamber. We had both thought really at the same time about the idea of doing like a projection light festival around downtown Coral Gables as just a fun, interesting thing to do. Also something that would help to highlight the city's commitment to fine art installations. And I had thought about it. I brought it to the arts and cultural specialist at the city, Catherine Cathers, and talked with her about it. And then he also went to Catherine and spoke with her about it. And so she said, well, you two guys have this idea. Why don't I put you together? So Vinny and I met and we talked about what this might look like and how we may possibly put this together. And we decided that the best way forward was to put together a collaborative group of the major organizations in the city, right? So we've got the City of Coral Gables, we've got the Business Improvement District, the Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce, the Coral Gables Community Foundation that's also acting as our fiscal sponsor, and the Coral Gables Museum.
So you got everybody in one team.
Everybody together. We figured, you know what? We don't want anyone left out of this. Let's make this a community-wide effort. Let's get the major stakeholders together and talk about doing this. And that's what we did. And that was in January of 2019.
So how many years? So you did it 1 year, last year?
Well, last year we were still in the planning stages. It has taken us 2 years.
So this is it. This is it.
Together. This is our inaugural year. We do intend to do this again, hopefully every year. This has been a major undertaking for a lot of people. The city has been incredibly supportive of us. They've helped tremendously with just the logistics and putting everything together. All the partner organizations have been involved, and it's been just a very large volunteer effort to get Illuminae underway. So the question is, what is Illuminae Coral Gables, right?
Right, and the cost. I'm curious the cost.
You know what? I'll get there in a minute.
Not to the people, but how much you got to raise?
That's a great question, and so yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But the so Illuminae Coral Gables, what it is a fine art exhibition, a museum quality art exhibition that will be presented in the public realm, that is free to the public. So
not just Coral Gables, anybody.
Oh, of course it's open to the entire community, and we're thinking with some of the amazing artists that we've managed to attract through our curator.
And how do you get him?
Pardon me?
The curator. Where do you find them, and how do you get them?
That's a great question. So in the earlier stages of planning, all of these organizations together in one room talking about how great this is going to be, how we want to do this, we realized that collectively, none of us had ever put on this scale of an art exhibition in the public realm before, right? We didn't have the experience to do it. So we decided to put out an RFP through the city really across the globe. We received responses, over 40 responses to this RFP.
How long? This event's 1 week, right?
It's going to run for a month.
A month, okay.
And originally it was going to be over the course of a week, but we realized as we went through this that it made more sense to let it stay in place for an entire month. So the curatorial team that we decided on after narrowing down this pretty wide field, I mean, it was over 40 very good qualified people that applied. But the one that really stood out above the rest was a group that is currently located in the Bay Area, California, the Fung Collaborative.
When you say Bay, I think of Tampa.
This not just the West Coast, but
real West.
Florida, but the West Coast of the United States.
Okay.
So even though they've got deep roots in New York City too, they are currently residing in California. And the Fung Collaborative specializes in doing this sort of public art, fine art exhibition. And we went through a rather lengthy interview process with them. We flew them to Coral Gables and interviewed them in person. We showed them around, and we quickly realized that this was just the right
And when
match.
did you do that?
That would have been in October of 19.
Wow.
So all of this planning, that's what I'm saying. We've been working, so pre-COVID, this was set into motion, and we were moving along gangbusters towards the end of 2019. We had hired the Fung Collaboratives as our curatorial team. The board was fully engaged. We were out starting to talk it up in the community, talk to sponsors. Heading into 2020, all was going well. We had great support from the city, from the bid, financially, and the fundraising machine had just begun. And then March of 2020 hit.
Your fan club, Dennis. Who's Dennis? Your brother?
That's my uncle, who's also out in California. So that's great.
What part of California does he live in?
So my uncle Dennis is in Irvine, California.
Okay.
So great. I'm glad that it's early out there. I'm glad he's watching. But so COVID hit, and our curator by that time had really put together the entire exhibition. He had contacted artists and really had selected 20 or so installations that would go across downtown Coral Gables. It was going to be massive, a 7-figure budget that we had been working on. And when COVID hit, we obviously had to sort of shift gears a little bit, rethink things, and do something that we thought was going to be safe in the age of COVID and would allow people to go. It's thankfully all outdoors, but allow people to go and view beautiful works of art from artists around the globe. Many of them, 6 of these are site-specific that have been commissioned just for Illuminae Coral Gables. And I'll talk a little bit more about the artists in a moment. But so we, of course, then, even though with COVID hitting and the idea that we had to sort of remake the exhibit, we shifted more to projection work, because that can be viewed from a wide area, and it allows people to easily distance themselves. And it just, I think, made more sense, even though the original exhibit was going to include far more sculptural work, a little bit of projection, not as much, but some other very interesting installations. But it would have been too difficult because people would have to crowd around to see them. And even back in March, April, May, we realized that this was going to probably be longer than a few months, and we needed to do something that could be viewed safely. So we shifted more to projection, and we have some very incredible work that's going to be presented by artists on Coral Gables City Hall. Artist by the name of Carlos Estevez, Cuban-American artist, had a beautiful show at the Low last year. But he is designing, he's working with some animators out of California and doing a projection piece that will go on Coral Gables City Hall.
The location of this exhibit.
Yes.
Where is it going to be?
So I'll start with that, with City Hall. So we'll have a beautiful projection work on City Hall.
This is at nighttime.
This is happening. It's starting at 6 o'clock in the evening and running until 9:30 or 10. Down the block from there, the Ocean Bank Tower that's on Lejeune Road.
Next to Publix?
Yes, next to Publix.
Everything circles around Publix or Mercedes-Benz.
Well, sort of, but it's going to move a little bit further east too as we go. But so Scott Davidson and his family are sponsoring an artist from the Caribbean by the name of David Gums, who has done a beautiful work that will be projected on the side of that building. And then David Gums has done a second work that will be projected on the side of the Miracle Theater facing Salcedo. There's that long wall that will be projected upon with some really beautiful...
The west wall.
Yes, the west wall of the theater. And these are interactive projections where the activity on the street will be captured by video cameras and then translated into work that will be happening live on the building.
Start again.
Very innovative. There will be cameras placed on the street that will capture movement by pedestrians, movement by cars, and that activity on the street will then be translated into projections onto the walls. So David Gums has been working on this for months, and we've Zoomed with him several times. I've seen the work. It's going to be fantastic. So those are 3 of the projection works, the one on City Hall, Ocean Bank Building, the side of the Miracle Theater. We also have Florida International University.
Who?
FIU. Florida International University is one of our educational partners, and one of the current professors there, Jonathan Perez, is working with his students throughout this semester to create a projection work that will go on the side of the Coral Gables Museum. Once again, the west wall of the museum, where the firemen sculptural heads are above that, and around it will be this student-created projection piece that will also happen for the course of that month. Moving back over to Miracle Mile, another artist by the name of Joseph Mills, who is also a musician, has created some, using archival video footage, has created some projections that will be projected from inside the vacant storefront windows out onto Scrim. So you'll be on the street being
on Miracle Mile.
View it on Miracle Mile.
Not many vacancies.
There are not too many, thankfully. I mean, there are some, and hopefully there'll be fewer as we go through the spring. But a couple of the currently vacant spots will be used as little mini galleries with the projections coming from inside onto the windows that you will be able to view from the street. We also have 2 local artists, a married couple, Ruben Molares and Antonia Wright, who are doing, it's a work that involves barricades. And you can read more about this on our site on illuminatecoralgables.org. But this work, there will be these brilliantly lit barricades placed on strategic corners around downtown Coral Gables. In addition to that, the one work that I think will capture a lot of people's imagination is by a Chinese artist by the name of Zai Guochang, who is...
How do you pronounce that?
Zai Guochang. So Zai...
That's pretty good.
Well, I've not had the pleasure of meeting him yet, but I've certainly spoken about him quite a bit. And this piece that was created for the bicentennial of Benjamin Franklin Parkway in Philadelphia a few years ago, entitled Fireflies. If you go to our website, once again, this is one of the images that will come up immediately when you hit the site. So Fireflies consists of pedicabs that are adorned with Chinese lanterns that were created in the artist's home village in China. Zai Guochang does reside in America. He lives and works in New York City, but he's commissioned for major works around the world. And this is a very exciting work to be bringing to Coral Gables. So the Fireflies pedicabs will be circulating around downtown Coral Gables. Yes, they'll be taking a route from Giralda Plaza, which I'll talk about in a minute, down to Miracle Mile,
So this is
Salcedo.
This is exciting.
This
You're going to
will
get
be-
locals, Coral
Yes.
Gables residents. You're going to get outsiders coming in to see this exhibit.
Absolutely. We think that this will be a great draw. Even in the age of COVID, we think we'll be bringing in folks from of
That's
course,
in
around
February,
Miami-Dade
right?
and Broward County.
February.
February the 12th.
That's
We're running it for an entire month.
It's 6 weeks away. By
Correct,
that
yes.
time, a huge percentage already had COVID. by that time, another couple 100,000 were already having their shots. So we're getting close.
Well, we were very careful to move it as far past the holidays as we could and still have the darkness. That's the thing. Illuminae Coral Gables relies on the darkness, right? It must have a few hours every night before it gets too late to be able to show these installations, because they're all based in light.
This is exciting for the businesses in Coral Gables. It just happened now, but it's exciting. This is the time everybody's
We're
kicking back.
We're very excited to be able to hopefully bring some new faces downtown and have them safely move about, grab dinner outdoors at one of our restaurants, grab a drink, check out some of our retailers. But let me mention the last.
By the way, I'm getting text messages, people that are all excited about the show.
I hope so. Fantastic. Well, listen, they can check it out. Go to our website, illuminatecoralgables.org.
Is it free?
The entire exhibit is free.
What's the catch?
Yes. There's no catch.
It's free.
It is free.
In the middle of COVID, we're going to have a free, exciting.
Absolutely.
Does anybody else do this in the United States like this?
So there are other fine art light shows, certainly other light festivals that happen around the country. Have you been to any? I've been to one in New Orleans. That was, I guess it was in December of 19. That was nice. It was outdoors, not quite as large as the one that we're planning.
That was 19. Were you already discussing this one?
I went as sort of a research project because we had already decided that Illuminate was moving forward. But so the last piece that I do want to mention is by an American artist by the name of Kiki Smith. And this is a project that was commissioned by the city of Coral Gables really as their Art Basel installation. You know, every year the city commissions a new artist to create a site-specific work for the Gables as part of Art Week in Miami. So this typically happens in December. Due to COVID and just the need to kind of push everything further out, that exhibit's going to open around the same time as Illuminate Coral Gables. And it's amazing. It's also on the front cover of our website. You can see it. It'll be 42 suspended animal figures that are inspired by the constellations. And they will be hung above Giralda Plaza. And the name of the work is Blue Night. So Kiki Smith is arguably one of the, pardon me?
Have you met him yet?
Actually, it's a her. I've not met her. I've seen her on Zoom. And I can tell you that she is considered one of the greatest living contemporary artists in this country. And once again, we're just honored to have her as part of Illuminate Coral Gables. So the important thing is that we brought in internationally renowned artists like Zygwa Chang and Kiki Smith. We have great local artists like Ruben Molares and Antonia Wright. Carlos Estevez, we're lucky to have him in Miami. He is more internationally known, certainly, as well as Joseph Mills, who is known here in the Bay Area as well. And then we have the student project that's going on with FIU.
That's exciting.
And David Gums from the Caribbean, who is doing 2 of our projection works. So we feel that this is just a very diverse and interesting group of artists that our curator, Lance Fung, has assembled. The curatorial vision is certainly his. And as I said, we had a much larger field of artists that had been selected, and then due to COVID, it had to be narrowed a bit to this group. But we think that every one of these projects is going to be very strong.
Is butterflies? Is there going to be a big section for butterfly paintings, things like that there? So
I'm glad you mentioned that, Grant. So part of our initiative with Coral Gables, with Illuminate Coral Gables, is the educational component. So David Gums, who is doing the projection work on the Miracle Theater and also the Ocean Bank building, has put out a request for children, really for anyone, to send him pictures of butterflies that they may have painted or drawn.
And where do they send those?
So those would go to, you can send them to info@illuminatecoralgables.org.
Or just go to your webpage. You can find
Go to the website under the education tab. There, all the information on this is there. So in addition to the butterfly project, he's also looking for stories of immigration to South Florida. He wants to have an audio component. There will be an audio component to this piece. and he wants the audio component to be some of the stories of immigration from around the world to the U.S. and more specifically to Miami. So the request is out for that with anyone that has that immigration story they'd like to share in an audio clip. And then lastly, Carlos Estevez, who is doing the projection work on City Hall, is also doing a project of kite building for Miami-Dade County public school children, and really all school children in Miami-Dade County. There's a great video that we produced with Carlos. The name of the piece is Face Sky, and his hope is that we will have many children around Miami-Dade County in the next month watch the video and create kites that can then be turned into the Coral Gables Museum and then displayed around
Did you ever
town.
fly kites as a kid?
When I was a kid, I did fly kites, yeah.
I remember
absolutely.
flying a kite on a fishing pole.
On a fishing pole. It's a very Miami thing to do, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It's
why
like,
not?
It was like, that was a
Great.
Miami thing.
Sure. So this is inspired by the artist's childhood in Cuba, where he used to build kites himself and fly them. And it's really about Face Sky. The idea is for the children to kind of use this as an opportunity to explore and kind of demonstrate their own identity, their personality with these kites, and then let us display them around town. So that's a great one. The video is posted to our website, so please check out the educational video. And for those of you watching with children, show it to them, and hopefully you can create some kites for us.
Couple questions. Had raising the funds must have been difficult. Are you still looking for sponsors?
We are still.
You're looking just for one
sponsors.
sponsor.
So let me just
big one.
If you will just humor me for a minute, Grant. Let me just say yes. The sponsorship element of this was more challenging than we thought it would be, obviously with COVID, but we've been pleased to see that a lot of our local foundations and businesses have stepped up and have really wanted to help. We have great support from not only our partner organizations, the city, the Business Improvement District, the Chamber, and so forth, the Community Foundation, the museum. The Knight Foundation has given us a very generous grant, the Kirk Foundation, the Ortega Foundation, the Brian McBride, the Arthur B. McBride Senior Family Foundation, the McBride family that owns a lot of property in the Gables. Ocean Bank, Scott Davidson I mentioned, who's using his building for a projection. The Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau has been a great partner of ours and is helping us with promotion. Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs has been very involved with us. Well, tourism, of course. That's a difficult thing right now, but we're looking for a lot of staycation type stuff and people here locally that want to discover more about their city. My company, Berkshire Hathaway UWM, is a sponsor. Of course, Vinnie Torri's company, Terra Nova, who owns a lot of property in the Gables again. Florida Power and Light has stepped up as a sponsor.
Irene White.
They're fantastic. Actually, Addis Carilla, who serves
Addis,
with me,
the big team.
She's wonderful. Mercedes-Benz of Coral Gables has also stepped up as a sponsor, and we're grateful to them. Gunster Law, and then developer Alberto Perez. We have a large group of in-kind sponsors too that have given us a lot of the things we need to make this happen. And Doctors Hospital, Baptist Health, is our health and safety sponsor, and they're going to help us out with some of the things we need, like sanitizing stations and masks and things like that we'll need to have for the show to keep a lot of those things to keep people safe. So this truly is a community-wide effort, and we are just grateful that even in the age of COVID, there's been such a great response and so much support from so many people across this community. And I'll tell you that this is going to be an amazing exhibit for the Gables, and I think a very proud moment for the city.
How did the city support the project?
From day one, I have to say, and I'm glad you mentioned again, the city of Coral Gables, not only are they one of our largest financial sponsors, they've also facilitated, just in terms of the logistics around the city and public works and the permitting and all of those things that are needed to do something like this in the public realm. They've been with us every step of the way and really have enabled us to do this.
This is not a one-time event.
Ideally, no. The idea is that this will become an annual event in
Because
the city.
when people see this, they're going to go, "I want to see it again."
Absolutely.
It was like it was like that stupid thing. I say it's stupid. The umbrellas on that thing was such an impact. This one will be even a bigger one.
And we certainly use that. A little shout out to Mary Snow and the Community Foundation for bringing that forward in the city. But absolutely, I mean, we saw the impact of the umbrella sky installation above Giralda Plaza, and that certainly helped provide us with inspiration in knowing that we can do this and expand upon that and do something that people can come back. Not just, it's a big show. This is spanning across downtown, so you can come back again and again.
You're not going to be able to do the whole thing in one day.
You could. It would take all evening and a bit of walking around.
But you can't, because you're going to stop. You're going to eat somewhere. You're going to come back, eat somewhere.
So the idea is that and that's another reason why we wanted to do this over the course of a month, right? We want a chance for people to come back, but also not to have a crush of people. There is no ticket line for Illuminae Coral Gables. There's no ticketing booth. There's no place where we feel people are going to be, crammed together too close, which right now we obviously don't want to encourage. We want to keep people apart.
What's your favorite part on planning this event? There had to be something that you really got excited about.
My favorite part, I think my favorite part has been getting to know our curatorial team out of California and getting to know the artists that are participating with us. I think that's been just a great experience, and I'm fortunate, and I think everybody on our board, my co-founder, Benny Torrey as well, feel the same way. It's been let me tell you, this has been a journey, and the fundraising part has certainly been a challenge, as you mentioned. There have been a lot of hurdles to leap over, but I think we are now in the home stretch. We have some final logistics to work out. We could use certainly a few more sponsors to help us get to where we need to be.
What is the cost factor of this event?
So originally I mentioned a 7-figure.
Does that include cents?
Budget. Sorry.
Does that include zeros for cents or?
No, we were looking at over $1 million in a budget. Now, of course, trimming it back conservatively, now we're closer to about $600,000 all in for this show. So
it will change. It will help Coral Gables get to that next level.
I think so. And kind of going back to the beginning of our conversation and talking about sort of how we got here and the inspiration for this. I was in a committee meeting a few years ago when I was I was chairman of the chamber, and there was discussion about bringing more galleries back to the Mile and bringing more arts. Not that the city hasn't done an amazing job with their public art installation, they have, and there are public works of art now. The collection is large and has been growing for years.
It's completely different.
But it's very different. But the idea was also to have galleries return to the city in greater numbers. And this was a way to help that, as well as just provide a very uniquely Coral Gables experience for people.
What's your numbers that you think that's going to attend?
Oh my goodness. That's a tough question. I'd like to think we will have easily over 100,000 attendees over the course of the month.
This is what I wrote. I wrote it. I think.
Well, listen, I like that number too. 300,000.
That's over 30 days.
Seen. And I think that it will be a question of kind of where we are 6 weeks from now in terms of infection rate and how much. But once again, it's all outdoors. And I think that's the important component to this. It can be viewed, many of these, from your car. Now, we don't want people to pack into downtown Coral Gables in their cars and just drive around looking at this, but certainly very safely on foot, from a bicycle, with your small family group.
Right, on a scooter.
On a scooter. You can really view it from wide areas. No one has to gather together closely to see this, and I think that's the key to our success on this.
Quickly, what's the best way to view the exhibits? Scheduled dates. Give the dates again. Where do I get a ticket?
Well, So February 12th, that's a Friday, running through to March 14th, which is daylight savings. So that's kind of the last day that we could produce this with the darkness earlier on in the evening. It is free and open to the public. You can come and park anywhere around downtown Coral Gables, and within a few short steps, I'm sure you'll come upon one of our exhibits. Our website, illuminaecoralgables.org, has tons of information on the artists, on really everything about this exhibit, and
we can learn more on that webpage.
You can learn everything about the exhibit there. You can also email info@illuminaecoralgables.org if you have questions, if you're interested in the sponsorship, as I mentioned. We will start to print some of our exhibit details that we'll be using around downtown Coral Gables on the projection towers and so forth with the sponsor information in the next few weeks. So we're trying to get all of our final sponsors in so that we can properly recognize them on these projection towers.
We would like, if possible, each day that you go, pick a restaurant, eat at the restaurant, then go see the exhibit, or after exhibit, stop at a restaurant.
There are so many great places now outside, more so I think probably than ever in the city's history, to eat. All up and down the mile, certainly Giralda Plaza, on Ponce. There's just great outdoor seating and dining. So that's the idea. Come, have a nice early dinner, and then stroll through downtown Coral Gables, rediscover the downtown, maybe go to areas you haven't been to for a while and see these great works of art that have been commissioned just for the Gables.
And if you call to be a sponsor, Patrick will take you out to lunch.
I would be happy to.
It's our honor to have you. Close us out, talk about this event one more time. 30 seconds, go.
So, well, my elevator speech, huh? Illuminae Coral Gables, February 12th through March 14th, starting at 6 p.m. in the evening, running till about 10. It is great public art installations across downtown Coral Gables, easily viewable from a wide area. No need to get close to folks. Come with your family and your friends. Mask up, be safe, sanitize your hands. But check out downtown Coral Gables for that month. We're just super excited to present this. Grateful to all of our sponsors again. And I want to thank the community newspapers too. And Grant, really, and Amy Donner. A shout out to Amy.
Yeah, she, by the way,
with coordinating all of this.
They should hire her. You should see her painting some butterflies. She's a butterfly painter.
Well, listen, she mentioned to me, and I'm hoping, Amy, I hope you're listening. Please do send us some of your butterfly paintings, and we will give them to David Gums, and hopefully he can place them into his work.
Okay, like I said, Grant Miller, Patrick O'Connell, everybody have a great day. See you later.
Thanks, Grant.